trying to create a new product or a new service. If I'm looking at an uncontested market and I'm trying to recognize opportunities, I'm looking for new markets. And these are usually markets that are not serviced for things that already exist somewhere else in the world. And lastly, we've got radical opportunities, and these are the biggies. This is the one where somebody comes along and invents a mobile phone, or somebody comes along and invents a laptop computer, and they put something into the marketplace, like an iPod, that no one had actually envisaged before. And they may be competing for other people's dollars, but they're not competing with them directly. So here we go, parallel opportunities. Recognizing the potential for existing products and services to be sold into an already contested market. So we're obviously going to be competing with existing businesses. And I'm talking about an example like a new hairdressing salon going into an area that already has maybe one or two or a few others. But there's all kinds of opportunities that can run in parallel with existing businesses. And this is just a list. We could buy out an existing business, we could copy another business, we could fill a shortage for something, we can reintroduce a product or service that's been withdrawn by some other business, we can assemble stuff, we can subcontract stuff, we can replace imports, we can exploit markets that have been abandoned by larger companies, or we could be an agent, or we could be a distributor. These are pretty garden variety kind of opportunities, but nevertheless, they represent genuine business opportunities. New market opportunities means recognizing the potential for existing products and services that we're going to sell into a new, uncontested market for which no competitors are currently operating. So, good example, the organic version of some product, like the organic version of dishwashing liquid. That is recognizing the potential for an existing product, but it's got something that is new. Domestic application of industrial products, imitating another business, buying franchise, importing, exporting. Special interest groups are a really good opportunity where the demographics are in a state of flux. For example, products for left-handed people, products for people who come from countries where they can't buy something they really like in this country. And of course, internet marketing. The third area is a new product or a service. So we're going to create or we're going to modify a product or a service, and we're going to aim it at a contested markets. We're going to try to take business away from existing businesses. There's the organic versions of well-known products. And really, in this particular sector of the matrix, it's about what you can create that's new, that's going to excite somebody who's already a customer. And I've got a list that starts out with, well, I can make it better, I can improve the quality, or I can improve the service. I can broaden the range, I can narrow the range. I can improve its usability, its performance, its safety. I can change all kinds of other things. How I deliver it, how I package it, how big it is, how small it is. I can add new features, I can add accessories, I can make it simpler, I can make it more convenient, and I can do all kinds of things. You can see the list for yourself. New means not totally new, but a little bit new, just a little bit different, and just something that excites the imagination of the customer. Radical opportunities are not only rare, they are extremely high risk. Because what we're doing is A, creating a new product or a new service, and we're going to aim it at a market that doesn't actually exist yet, an uncontested market. And so one of my examples is nanny software. There was no need for nanny software before we had the internet, and there was no need for nanny software before, porno sites were freely available to children. And so there was no concept of what nanny software would even be until these things converged. And that particular idea has had traction and has been very successful. Most radical opportunities are going to upset the way in which established businesses operate, which means they're going to retaliate if this happens to them. But they were basically talking about either inventing something, buying a license for something that somebody else invented, or transferring an idea out of one domain into another. So that's our 4 kinds of opportunities. And there are lots of places to go look for the trends that fit into one of those boxes. And when you've got one, then we've got a methodology for actually testing its commercial potential. And that's what this book is about, Discovering New Business Opportunities. That's what the unit is about that we're going to teach in the 2nd semester. How are we going to decide whether or not we're going to champion this idea that we've just dreamt up? How are we going to decide if it's worth putting the time and the effort and the money into it? And we're going to do it basically in 3 phases. First of all, we're going to decide whether or not we can identify a viable market, and we've got techniques for measuring potential demand, for measuring whether the market actually approves of this idea, and for measuring whether the idea's got real competitive traction. The second thing we're going to do, or the second phase, is we're going to anticipate the risks involved in this idea. Big risks or little risks. And we tend to look at risks in terms of what we call boundary risks, things that constrain an idea commercially, and establishment risks, which are basically the ways the wheels could fall off if we actually try to put it into operation. And third phase is we go looking for the right business model so that this idea will make money. And so we're looking at the skills and experience we're going to have to buy in, we're looking at the resources we're going to have to get a hold of, and eventually we're looking at the dollars. And sense is not misspelled here. It means good common sense about whether or not this thing is worth doing. So these are the places you can look for ideas. These are the kinds of things you could look for. And there is actually a methodology for trying to decide if it's worthwhile going ahead. You might like to have a look at the stuff that underlies the last slide because it makes a really good pitch. That's it for me.